Exhibit 1. But beware, for there be monsters in there. Bundy.
We serial killers. We're everywhere.
Gacy.
Do you have any idea how long it would take the guards to get here if you screamed?
Dahmer.
I'm a pervert and a killer.
The Zodiac.
This is the Zodiac speaking.
They're all here, inside the True Crime Movie Club. And now, for our feature presentation.
Out of the way, please. No comment. Nothing to say at this stage.
You okay, Dad?
Detective Richards.
Yes.
I'm Bob Carr. I work with the FBI Behavioral Science Unit. I thought maybe I could help.
We were just heading home. We were?
You've had a direct experience with a serial killer. Beyond just consulting on the case files.
I have. Back in '74, I was a rookie detective. We identified Ted Bundy as the main suspect in murders.
What's it like, coming face to face with someone like that?
Murderers who strangle often speak of an intimate connection they feel with the victim as they die.
Hey, Julie.
Hey.
Well, he plans what he wants to do in his mind, down to the smallest detail. By the time he closes in, it's almost like it's already happened.
Do you think he's the killer?
Something in my gut tells me he is.
We serial killers. We're your sons. Your husbands. We're everywhere. And there will be more of your children dead tomorrow.
At some point, you're going to be face to face with the Green River Killer.
Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of a brand new podcast. This is your matinee ticket to the True Crime Movie Club, where we watch the worst of true crime cinema so you don't have to.
But you should.
Some of you might know us from our sister podcast, Podcast 1289. I am one of your hosts. I am Jesse. To my right, we've got Dan.
Hi, everybody.
And to my left, we've got Mike, a.k.a. Chef Bagels.
How you doing, people?
So for our inaugural episode of this brand new true crime / cinema appreciation, I guess we could say that facetiously, podcast, we are covering the brand new direct-to-Redbox feature.
Hell yeah.
Bundy and the Green River Killer, which was released on May 7th of this year, 2019, starring no one you've ever fucking heard of.
But you'll look at him and be like, that guy looks familiar. They were all extras in other movies.
Yeah, no, not because you think you've seen him in other movies. It's like, I think I've seen that guy behind 7-Eleven before.
Here's the pedigree of it. 4 stars on IMDb, 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. Popularity IMDb, 3,097. Down 1,792 spots.
Now, mind you, that 4.0 on IMDb would likely be a lot lower if it were not for the fact that, according to some of the review comments left on that page,
there are 51 10-star reviews.
Yes, and they're all from the cast and crew of this movie. Like, you could tell that after the film wrap, the director, who directed this pile...
Man, we gotta polish this turd somehow, guys.
Did someone direct this? I don't see a director listed here. This ain't no Alan Smithy project, is it?
There has to be a director.
There it is. It was written and directed by Andrew Jones.
No relation.
And you might know Andrew from such other low-budget features as Robert the Doll, capitalizing on the Annabelle Conjuring phenomenon.
There you go.
Cabin 28. I missed the first 27 films in the series, but I'm sure this one's good. The Legend of Halloween Jack.
Man, we just gotta watch all this guy's movies.
Actually, there are some movies that we should watch for True Crime Movie Club.
Werewolves of the Third Reich, definitely. Jurassic Predator, 100%.
Amityville Asylum. We could do an Amityville Asylum episode.
Yeah. The Last House on Cemetery Lane. These are all just like...
Dude, that title sounds so great.
These are all great value versions of good horror movies.
Yeah.
Are you saying this is
exactly.
These are the Dean Koontz versions?
Dean Koontz, I think, only had, Odd Thomas was probably the highest budget one, and then, before that, it was what? Fucking Phantoms with Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck?
Everyone forgets Phantoms was Dean Koontz.
I only heard of Phantoms from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
Phantoms is actually pretty decent for a TV movie from the fucking late 90s. It's not
Was
bad.
Affleck really the bomb?
He's Affleck, you know.
Hey man, say what you will about Ben Affleck. Argo was pretty fucking good.
Argo was fucking great.
You can't say Affleck was Affleck, because Affleck did Argo and also did Geely.
But that's Sad Fleck. Sad Fleck is after J-Lo, probably. I guess you could say, the J-Lo was the catalyst. But before that, you had,
J-Lo's the one that put him over the edge.
Yeah.
And then he did Reindeer Games.
And, could you imagine if they tried doing taco-flavored kisses for my Ben now?
Jesus Christ.
They had a hand puppet being operated by an 8-year-old, mind you, in the context of the show, fucking making fun of Mexican people.
Giving Ben Affleck a hand job.
Yeah.
Literally 4 times.
Yeah. Oh boy. But yeah, no, we should definitely check out some of these other films for later episodes, especially since they can't cost more than $5. Don't get us wrong, we're not down on
send your money now.
Low budget film is cool. Let me get out. We are low budget filmmakers. We're documentarians. Our current feature we're working on, we shot for less than $5,000. We know the struggles of making a film on a budget and delivering it on time and of a certain quality.
This movie had, real quick, Bundy and the Green River Killer had a budget of $1 million.
Did it really?
$1 million.
Get the fuck out of here.
Well, you gotta remember, too, it's a movie that, and we'll get into this, it's a movie that's largely about people talking.
Yeah.
So what do they need $1 million for?
They sure shit didn't spend any of that money on costumes, so...
Or talented actors.
Yeah.
Or locations.
Nothing.
Or, I don't know.
Anything.
But yeah, with that in mind, we're not 100%, there are some amazing low-budget films out there, anything from documentary shorts all the way up to feature-length films of just about any genre.
The first movie that ever got me into, real cinema was Clerks, and Clerks was made for, $23,000 or something, and it was fucking brilliant. There's tons of great low-budget movies.
Look at fucking Deadbeat by Dawn.
Deadbeat by Dawn by our friend Jim Van Beber. I mean, that was shot with the remainder of his student loan, and he probably ran up some credit cards to do it as well. That film is just as good as any other action or kung fu grindhouse film you would have found in the 70s, which is the type of movie this is paying tribute to. So yeah, budget does not always mean quality. However, these guys are slowly but surely becoming the new Roger Cormans of the era. They are known for multiple horror and sci-fi features a year on budget, so they can fill up the Walmart bargain bin near you. It's, like we mentioned before, Jurassic Predator, which, capitalizing on Jurassic World / Jurassic Park. Werewolves of the Third Reich, which is probably...
I'm very excited to see.
Yeah, I want to see that shit too. It's going to be awful. But I don't know. Would you say that that's a Dog Soldiers capitalizing off of?
I don't know. It's like... Werewolf Nazis is always a thing.
Wait. There was a movie that came out a year or two ago that involved the supernatural in World War II, an actual movie. Do you remember what I'm talking about? It had a one-word title. Overlord? Was that the name of it?
Sure, I think yeah. I remember seeing title treatment for that.
Yeah, so this may have been cashing in on Overlord or something like that. There's The Exorcism of Anna Eklund, which is, throw a rock. The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yeah, there's an Anna Eklund, maybe. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, there's a million possession movies. We saw the resurgence of that with The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and of course the granddaddy of them all, The Exorcist. So, I mean, that film's never not going to be relevant. It's going to continue to inspire. Right now we're in the middle of the second wave of of possession films. There'll be a third and a fourth. Robert the Doll, as we mentioned, that's capitalizing on the Annabelle Conjuring trilogy. They also did, these are the ones that I like best because I used to work in a video store and I used to see this happen all the time. Older people with bad eyes coming in and thinking these titles are the one that they're ripping off because they're so close, and most of the budget probably goes to the people that design the covers, so people will get confused because they look good.
Yeah.
And so one right here, Poltergeist Activity. I'm sure most of the budget was grandfathers picking up, what he thought was paranormal activity for his grandkids. So they were funny. It was one time I was working at Movie Gallery, and it was when like the third Pirates of the Caribbean came out, and this guy, he was easily 80 years old, and he had his, probably they were like 6 or 7-year-old granddaughters with him, and he put up a softcore porn that was just called Pirates.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that in a Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, you remember Pirates. So,
Yeah.
And I'm trying to explain to him, I'm like, sir, I don't think this is the movie that you want. And he's like, yes, it is. It says it right on the cover, Pirates. Isn't that right, girls? They're like, we're going to watch the Pirates. And I'm like, sir, this isn't the one you're looking for. He's like, yeah, it is. Look at the cover. And I finally had to lean in and I said, sir, this is pornography. Oh. And then, like, of course, he went back and he
flips it. What are you doing stocking this shit?
No, he was surprisingly cool.
I wonder how many people working at video stores actually were like, this is, you know what, never mind.
That guy's got to be dead by now. I hope he's having a good afterlife.
Yeah, he's fucking pirates.
Yeah, well, there you go. He also, apparently, you can just make sequels to Night of the Living Dead because of a fuck up. It went into the public domain. So, in 2012, he did Night of the Living Dead Resurrection. Also, another sequel to a classic horror franchise. He did a sequel to Silent Night, Bloody Night, The Homecoming. We made a film called Homecoming, too. I bet there's like a million. There's now there's a Sandra Bullock show too. So
good for her. Good for her.
Those Blindside checks ran out.
Speed. Speed's coming back.
So yeah, he wrote all of those. Let me see if he directed. Of course, he directed them all. So I'm
more of a writer-director.
Yeah. So, and in addition to those, his upcoming credits include the Manson Family Massacre, the Utah Cabin Murders, and the Jonestown Haunting. Now, I'm not going to lie, that sounds like that would be spooky as shit, because there were almost 1,000 victims. Imagine being in the jungles of South America, and you're being chased by 900 fucking 60 ghosts. That's fucking scary. That's some like Japanese suicide forest shit.
They can fly and shit.
Oh man,
they're ghosts. Who cares?
Fucking amazing.
Anyway, let's get into this movie.
So yeah,
it's
bad. That is the studio that that is the creative team behind this film that we're going to talk about. The studio is North Bank Entertainment, I believe. Let me just confirm that real quick.
Ideas Factory.
Where the hell is this? You see, the issue we're having here is this is one of the smallest IMDb pages I have ever seen. Like, the crew, literally, at least credited, made up of 12 people. There are more actors in this film, and this is not an ensemble film, than crew members listed on this project. So, yeah. So, Bundy and the Green River Killer. Now, this film is obviously based on the true life story of how incarcerated serial killer Ted Bundy offered his assistance to the investigators of the Green River Killer investigation in the 1980s. So, as most of you all know, Ted Bundy murdered possibly up to probably 50 women. There are, I think, 32 or 36 that we know of. And by this point in the whole saga, he had been in jail for a few years. He was getting bored. And now there's this new serial killer on the block in the same area, the Green River Killer. So what does Ted do? Ted decides to offer his help in a real-life proto-Silence of the Lambs story. He offers to be interviewed by the investigators of that case in order to help them develop a profile of the Green River Killer and hopefully apprehend him. As some of you may know, that did not happen for another 20 or so years. The Green River Killer ended up being a painter in Washington, a truck painter by the name of Gary Leon Ridgway. And while the information that Bundy provided was not directly responsible for his apprehension, several things that Bundy said this killer might do turned out to be true. The main one being that he would return to the crime scenes after he had killed his victim to engage in necrophilia. And that wasn't a hard guess for Bundy because he did the same with his victims. So it's like I said, it's a story that obviously inspires The Silence of the Lambs and its predecessor, the lesser known but equally as good Red Dragon. So yeah, sounds like it'd be an amazing movie, right?
On paper, I was into it.
Well, tell you what, if the story I just told interests you, fucking skip this movie and go see the 2004 television film, The Riverman, starring Robin Hood Men in Tights himself, Cary Elwes, as Ted Bundy.
That's a good caster. That's a good casting call. I like it.
He's so fucking...
Good for him. I'm glad he's getting work again.
Well, this was 15 years ago, but...
I'm glad he got work then.
He's still getting work. Cary, he is. Cary Elwes was
He disappeared for a minute there.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Like, America really forgot about him.
I didn't. I stuck with you, Cary, if you're listening.
He was always in our hearts.
But yeah, fucking Hot Shots, fucking The Princess Bride,
Saw. He was in Saw. He cut his foot off.
He was in motherfucking Saw. Lawrence Gordon, hello. Fucking, he was in Kiss the Girls with motherfucking Morgan Freeman.
He's got 6 things going on right now.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. He was Michael Collins in From the Earth to the Moon.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, so yeah. Fucking that guy. Imagine him. He's Ted Bundy. And playing Detective Bob Keppel, the real-life investigator who worked both the Bundy and Green River cases. You got Bruce fucking Greenwood playing him. Now, that name might not be instantly recognizable to some of you, but you've all seen him. You all know him. He was fucking JFK in 13 Days. He was Gil Garcetti in American Crime Story. I'm pretty sure, that was the season with OJ. The Juice! Oh my god, there are a couple OJ shitty TV movies that we gotta watch.
Oh my god.
The ABC TV movie of the week.
Trial's still going on.
The bodies weren't cold yet. But, anyway. So, yeah, you've got Bruce Greenwood playing him. Fucking great actor. Kathleen Quinlan's in it. Apollo 13. She was in Zeus and Roxanne. Oh, she was in The Doors and Zeus and Roxanne. I'm sure she was in other cool shit, too. But, yeah, so...
Dogs.
Oh, holy shit. And not to spoiler, also... Jim Leahy's in the fucking Riverman. John motherfucking Dunsworth has a cameo as a grizzled homicide investigator.
Really?
And this is during Trailer Park Boys, by the way. So if anyone saw this up...
Was he playing an alcoholic?
No.
Damn it.
He's in the... It's literally blink and you miss it. He is in a darkened room while they're watching... I think it was either Bundy giving a statement or it was a photo lineup. So, like, he's just back there, just watching, and then at one point, like, Bruce Greenwood comes in and, like, says, like, 2 words to him. But, like, yeah, he's just like, hi, Bob. And, like, if you're like...
Randy!
I got fucking Ted Bundy.
I am the dicker, bud.
Fucking, but yeah, so John Dunsworth is in it. It's a great movie. Bundy and the Green River Killer follows the exact same story, but with none of the same results.
Dialogue just... awful.
Yeah.
So forced. So just like...
The acting was so stiff and just like...
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Acting.
The guy who plays Ted Bundy in this movie...
Oh my god, don't get me fucking...
Richard Mark. It looked like his head was just going to come off and like be like really like snake-like and just eat everybody. He had this like, he looked like Gigolo Joe in AI, but without any of the sexiness.
No, you know who he fucking... And Richard Mark, if you're listening, I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
This is a comedy show. We're going to make fun of people. Now, Richard Mark looks absolutely nothing like Ted Bundy. In real life or in this movie.
He's got the eyebrows.
Yeah, maybe. That's it. But otherwise, he looks like if Sheldon from Big Bang Theory fucked Brian Peppers.
Oh, God, Brian Peppers.
He has this real teeny nose, which Bundy did not have, and these very large fucking eyes. So he looks absolutely nothing like Ted Bundy. You can tell he's trying, though, because he's from South Yorkshire, England. So he's trying his best to do Bundy's accent, but it just comes out, it's very intermittent. It gets really bad at some points, really thick.
Yeah, I had no idea what kind of accent he was going for. I was like, is Bundy from fucking Arkansas?
Yeah, at one point it sounds like it's Arkansas, another point it sounds like it's from Texas, but Bundy was from Washington. Like, you don't get much more north than that. And he's just like...
Well, I'm sure you know, Bob. It all began in Washington State. That's where I was living, where I grew up as a kid and a young man. Where those kinds of impulses, which ultimately led to the violent behavior, were born.
Yeah, so that needed work. Also, because this is a low-budget film, and I guess they got some ambulance chaser for a lawyer to do the legal review of the script, all of the names are changed, except for Ted Bundy and Gary Ridgway. So you won't see a Bob Keppel in this movie. You will see a Detective Bob Keller.
The guy who plays Bob Keller... The whole time I was thinking, this dude fucking looks like Bob Odenkirk fucked Bill Nighy. He just had like the weird, like kind of like always squinting mad eyes of Bill Nighy, but fucking Bob Odenkirk's head.
Yeah, he's got like my hair is half fallen out, but I'm still trying to have bangs look. And he has these fucking Ricky from Trailer Park Boys sideburns.
Those sideburns, I put in my notes, are fucking 10 years too late.
Now, get this shit.
For fucking 1978.
Yeah. Imagine this. I thought, oh, okay, well, he's doing an actor choice. This is obviously taking place in the very late 70s and then the mid 80s. So yeah, it gets a big...
Yeah. Opens in 78 in this really, like, nice, hip
We'll get to that in a second. Hold on,
Tallahassee.
don't get me fucking started on that scene. We'll get to that in a second. But real quick, just to close out Philip Roy's roast right here, I thought that his sideburns, his Ricky from Trailer Park Boys fucking sideburns, were an aesthetic choice because this is a vintage true crime story. Nope, he wears those in real life.
The facial hair in this movie, on the whole, you can tell, like, they did a whole block of filming at one point, then there was some time.
This film was shot in 3 fucking days.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm just saying, like, looking at it, you can tell, I'm sure I could find some data somewhere to say how long it actually took, but, like, fucking Mark Homer, the actor who plays Detective David Richards, aka in real life David Reichert, he, as we said before, this movie covers, when the fuck was Green River arrested? 2002, I think? Hold on. Gary Ridgway was apprehended in November 2001. This movie opens in 1978. So this covers 23 years. For that 23-year period, Mark Homer has the same amount of 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
For 23 years. So this was shot in less than a week.
That's as far as it goes.
Yeah. And Mark Homer...
No, I was thinking, what it looked like to me, because there are two distinct patches of facial hair that Detective Mark Richards has.
Detective Mark Richards.
Excuse me, David Richards.
David Richards. I'm Ben Richards. Come on!
There's two distinct patches. There's the one where it's just like the normal like 5 o'clock shadow, but there's another bit where it's a bit thicker, and he has like this weird like soul.
He's got the soul chip going on. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Dude, time has progressed, not regressed. We did not go further back into the 70s.
But it's just funny. like, you could tell, like, what I was saying is, like, you could tell they filmed one block of it at one part, there was a break, and then they filmed at another block and then they intercut different footage because that dude's facial hair changes within the same week. Twice.
Now, and Mark Homer is easily the worst fucking actor in this movie. His line delivery is somewhere between Werewolf, the classic fucking shit film from Mystery Science Theater 3000, this is absolutely fascinating, and The Room. Like, there were several points in watching this where I was just like, this guy, like, because the majority of the other people in the movie, including the guy who plays Ted Bundy, as I mentioned before, seemed like they were trying. Mark Homer, 100%.
This was just a check to him.
Not even. It's not even lazy acting. The acting is so bad on his behalf. It seems like it's knowingly. It has the vibe of people are going to be fucking roasting this film. This film, it was only made to cash in on Netflix's Bundy tapes and extremely wicked, vile, and fucking duty, whatever fucking shit. I'm just going to fucking have fun with it. And the scenes where he's talking to his teenage daughter.
What?
You okay?
Not really.
Have I done something wrong?
It's just, I was at a party earlier. Some guys started saying things.
About what?
You.
What did they say?
They said everyone in town knows you're messing up the case. Some of them said that their parents watch you on the news and call you names.
What kind of names?
They say you don't have any balls and that you're too weak to catch the killer.
I'm sorry you had to hear that.
I know it's not your fault. I'm sorry for getting mad. It's just...
You have every right to be annoyed. It's my job. You didn't ask for this.
It's not just your job, though, is it, Dad?
What do you mean?
It's your life.
You and your mother are my life.
But we have to share you with all of the criminals in this little part of the world. They get more of your time than we do.
I'm sorry, Deb. I'll try to make more time for us.
Okay.
Okay.
How old was she supposed to be?
Yeah, she's like fucking playing like a 14-year-old girl, and the actress easily looks older than us. And we're 30.
Yeah, no, she looks like in definite like late 20s.
I'm looking this up right now. Deborah Richards, the daughter character, is played by Lara Goodison, who is...
Good for her.
Yeah, right? Does she have a fucking birthday on here? You're slacking, IMDb. Hey, doesn't... All right, let me... Does she have a Wikipedia page? Probably not. She is... Okay, Google didn't fail me. She is 29 years old. Playing someone who is
she's like high school?
Literally half her age. She is someone who is pushing 30, playing someone pushing 16.
They couldn't afford someone younger.
Child Protective Services saw the script and said, this is abuse. But yeah, so the scenes between her and Mark Homer, the Dave Reichert character, are atrocious. Yeah. And there really is no excuse for it, in my mind, other than he knew he was making a shit movie, so he was having fun with it, because out of all of the people who have acted in this movie, he has easily the most experience. Mark Homer was on fucking EastEnders for 4 years. Like, EastEnders is a big deal show in the UK. It's like All My Children.
Well, so that kind of makes all the sense in the world, though, because the acting in this reminds me of soap opera acting, where it's just, there's no way you can kind of like have suspension of disbelief and actually get into it and be like, this is more than just a movie, or more than just people going, like, I'm reading lines in front of you.
You're right, because every single time it's a one-on-one like dialogue, and it has like the him shot and the her shot, it feels like they filmed all of their like their individual shots like line by line, and then slapped it in with the other side of that. So it's like a conversation happening between two people, but neither of them are paying attention or reacting.
Yeah, they're not in the same room.
Yeah, it seems like they either like, okay, I only have you for this day. We're going to have the producer or a PA or even the director sit opposite you, read the opposing lines. We'll get your reaction shots. And then tomorrow or Tuesday, we'll get Bundy in and shoot his stuff. Like, there is zero chemistry between anyone in this film. Like,
that was the most awkward family dinner I've ever seen on film.
Yeah, and it opens the film.
And it's like, I've seen Hereditary.
Yeah, and it's just, the scene was way too long. You could tell a good chunk of it was probably improvised. Like, it had the vibe of, we need this family to be natural and believable, like the Brodies in Jaws. Everyone knows a family like that. So why don't we have you guys just, wing it, go off, talk like you talk to your family. So you have 3 different people bringing a different experience to the table, and everyone's throwing shit at the wall, and none of it's sticking.
Yeah.
And the scene goes on for like 4 or 5 minutes, and it's in the beginning of a fucking serial killer thriller.
Yeah.
It's a psychological horror movie, essentially.
Your mother said dinner will be ready in a half hour.
Cool. Thanks.
What's that?
Shogo.
What?
Did you make this from the box again?
How do you know?
Because it's really good. And it's
Very
better than your
cheeky.
other
Don't
one.
be so cheap.
Better than my other one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
So, what's happened today?
Well, you've got a funny story about Mrs. Appleby, don't you?
I think she stole the other neighbor's baby. Yeah, because I heard crying coming from her house.
Maybe it was her granddaughter.
Hello?
It's Tom. Sorry to bother you at home, but you need to hear this.
What is it?
We found 3 more
3 more.
bodies in the Green River.
They had to cool you down from the first murder scene back in '78. Like, let's go back and let's talk about the opening of this movie.
The film opens. Ted Bundy's in Florida, on the run from when he broke out of jail during one of his trials, right? They open it in a club in 1978 where
the music
Great Value
playing.
LMFAO is playing in 1978. It's not even like someone from another country in another time going, what did Americans listen to in discos back then? It's, what's American dance music like? So it's like music from like 2010-ish playing during a scene where, I don't know, Kool and the Gang, I don't know, Florida probably wasn't even into disco. Florida was probably still listening to 38 Special.
Either way,
it's awful.
This club looks way too modern and hip for 1978 Tallahassee.
A lot of neon. It's
Yeah.
the Joel Schumacher nightclub.
Nightclub by Reffin.
Yeah.
That's a joke for John. So he goes and approaches these 2 girls to buy him a drink, and it's the most awkward flirting I've ever seen in my life.
Which is probably accurate for Bundy.
When he offers to pay for their drinks, and it does a full cut of him opening his wallet, pulling out money, unfolding it, a $5 bill from a 2006 series.
Wait, really?
And it's like it's the new 5. Like, the $5 bill you have in your wallet in this exact moment existed back in 1978 on that movie. It's a totem.
It has a fucking hologram on it. He pulls out a chip card.
Well, that's the scary part, is that actually Ted Bundy is a time traveler.
Ooh, time traveling Ted Bundy. We should sell the script to these people.
Yeah, they'd buy it. They have $1 million left over from this film. I'm sorry, they have $948,000 left from this film.
But yeah, so the beginning of the film covers this slightly fictionalized version of the Chi Omega murders at the sorority house murders that he committed on the run in Florida. The film's not very gory.
Yeah, to build tension for this, they had very frequent and consistent lightning happening outside and thunder. So it was like the most gentle thunderstorm on like speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was just like some guys just sitting there like rubbing a strobe light, and that's all it is. I was like really thinking, it's like they really got their rentals worth out of that for the lightning to really establish ambiance.
Yeah.
And then it's him stalking up a staircase that is like the spiral staircases are the worst to film in.
As we know from The Room.
Yeah.
Ted Bundy gets to the 2nd floor and we just hear "You Are My Rose" skipping on a fucking boombox. So, but yeah, so without going into like a scene-by-scene breakdown of the film, it flashes forward. Bundy's in jail, as we mentioned with the real-life story and its first cinematic counterpart, The Riverman. Bundy offers via letter to help with this new investigation because there's a new villain on the block. It is Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. Now, the actor they got to play serial killer Gary Ridgway, an actor by the name of Jared Nelson, who by no means is the worst part of this film. He is not given a lot to work with. He has maybe 3 or 4 scenes during which he's very soft-spoken, does not say a lot, and he does an adequate job. However, if you have ever seen photographs of Gary Ridgway from the 70s and the 80s, Jared Nelson, especially Jared Nelson in this film, the way he is made up for it, with his mustache and his glasses and the way they did his hair, looks nothing like Gary Ridgway. He looks like Kip Dynamite.
I was just going to say that.
He looks like Joaquin Phoenix in Her.
Yeah, a little bit of Joaquin in Her.
That's what Andrea said when we were watching.
Yeah, because he looks like because he's kind of buff. Like Joaquin is.
Yeah.
But he looks more like Kip trying to look like Joaquin. You know, hey, I look like the guy from Her, right? Yeah, he doesn't really look like... Gary Ridgway was more dirtbag, whereas Jared Nelson's Gary Ridgway is a little more like, hi, I've just moved into the neighborhood and the cops say that I have to tell you I'm a registered sex offender. Like, he's more pedo creepy than Gary Ridgway, who was dirtbag creepy.
No, the mustache does not work. It looks like a fuzzy caterpillar just chilling on his lip.
I think that Mark Homer would have been a better casting decision as Gary Ridgway than Jared Nelson.
100%. Yeah, you know what? I didn't fucking notice that watching it. Mark Homer...
He looks a lot like him,
He
too.
looks like Gary Ridgway now. Yeah, they have the same kind of mouth. They should have swapped. Because Dave Riker is a bit of a dish. Let me get you a picture of Dave Riker, and then you can see, you know, it's like, oh, Mark Homer should play this guy. Here, I'm throwing this in the True Crime Movie Club chat. That is the real-life Dave Riker, a.k.a. Dave Richards.
Oh, hey, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, no, that guy's a silver fox.
Not Smoke Show?
Yeah. He looks good. You know what Dave Riker looks like? Dave Riker looks like what Mike Pence thinks he looks like. Shit, man. So yeah, Mark Homer looks nothing like this guy. He looks more like Gary Ridgway does now. Good call on that. I totally didn't pick that up first, but now I can't unsee it. So yeah, Jared Nelson is fucking, you know, Kip Dynamite on roids in this movie. And during they show only one actual Green River murder sequence. Like, each killer, I think, only gets one murder sequence in this. I think Bundy has the Chi Omega flashback, and Jared gets the scene where, and if you've read about the Green River Killer, you know that this is true. He brought his young son with him to pick up a prostitute who he murdered. And Gary Ridgway mostly picked black women as his victims. And of course, the one person they get in this film to play, you know, the representation of all of his victims, the one kill we see on screen, is a fucking white chick who looks like every cashier at Hot Topic I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. I thought she was like vaguely Russian.
She's German.
Oh, so there.
Yeah, I looked her up. She's one of these default actresses who show up in all of these productions by this production company.
One of their stable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her name is, I'm gonna hopefully I'm not fucking her name up. Rahel
Hold on. Rahel Kapsaski.
And she does not make any attempt to mask her accent. She does a decent job playing, you know, a person who's been on hard times and has to work a hard job. She does decently play someone, especially from back then in the middle of like the crack and AIDS epidemic, someone who's been on hard times. The trouble is it's the location just doesn't work for it. Like I mentioned before, this was in Washington. Gary Ridgway mostly picked African American women. And
this is all filmed in Wales.
Yeah. And this is a white chick with dyed black fucking straight ironed hair with goth makeup and a nose ring and shit. This is Hot Topic Spencer Gifts.
And this is in 78 or 82.
Yeah, 1982. There were no new waivers there.
Depeche Mode hadn't made it yet.
So yeah, it doesn't work. And that kill scene, I think that's a strangle scene. So, I mean, there is very little gore in this movie. Not that that's a bad thing, but it is respectful. And like the Chi Omega murders happen off screen. You see a little blood splatter on a wall. And then this one is a mostly off-camera strangulation, so it is at least not exploitative in that respect.
No, I was like, this thing got the world's easiest strangulation award. Like, it went down pretty quick.
Yeah, strangulation takes I think around 3 minutes. So.
I feel the best representation of it was in not Sicario, excuse me, in No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the movie just kind of meanders. It peters along. Like most of it happens in rooms because they really, they were smart in the sense that it's like we cannot be outside for too long because there's too much modern shit around.
Yeah.
If this was in a more rural setting, they probably would have gotten away with. But this is in fucking Seattle. You can't shoot in a city in 2019, especially Wales, where this was probably filmed, and get away with making it look like 30 years ago. You would have to CG out too much shit. This is a $1 million budgeted movie. So yeah, it mostly happens in a series of rooms, and
that are like not even that greatly stocked for the time. Like, no. I remember when the first time it goes into their kitchen, it's very nice, very tasteful, like modern kitchen with like really nice like tile backsplash and all that stuff. Like things you didn't see in the 80s. But there's this really old coffee maker there that was supposed to be your anchor to the times.
Yeah, right.
This whole movie is just one big anachronism.
Meanwhile, the daughter's probably wearing like an Apple Watch. But yeah, the majority of it follows Dave Richards, aka Dave Reichert's frustration with dealing with this case, it not being solved quickly like he'd like it to be, and the press really giving him shit for it. Now, the awful thing that they did that really makes this movie the extra mile in bad is if we were filming this movie, if we wanted to show like what the broadcast looks like on TV, you've got a few options for that. You can get an old analog camera, play it on an old analog TV and digitally capture it to put it into the film, or you could use a series of filters to make it look like it was shot on video like news cameras were back then. They were mostly shot on U-matic tape. And
didn't do any of that.
No. Instead of just, we could just show the cameras hounding him, you would just show him in the third person, just being hounded by cameras and answering the questions and just leave it at that. We don't have to show, this is what someone watching it on TV would have seen. But they do that. And they leave the aspect ratio 1:78.
Widescreen television.
Yeah, widescreen television. And they put a 2000s style CNN ticker on the bottom, which the news did not have back then.
You're lucky you got some yellow font.
It was amazing news coverage for 1982. It was like CGI'd. It looked like BBC. It looked like the fucking BBC.
They fucking blew the doors off with that one.
Yeah, so no. BBC, Al Jazeera, like now. Like, someone literally was just told, make it look like a newscast. And that's what they did. So there was no thought put into it. You could have easily made it look like old TV by just either grabbing.
It may have just been a filter from the like editing software they had.
Yeah. So, hey, it came free. So,
yeah, right. So really getting that budget worth.
And now there's like only two or three scenes with Bundy where he's being interviewed. The jail cell really just amounts to some bars in front of him and some like white paper behind him that like a creepy orange light is like fucking shown.
It was very well lit jail.
Yeah, only which the bars would hint to you that, hey, this is a jail.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's like, this isn't fucking Jeff's living room.
Yeah, so it mostly follows that, but like the funniest part to me is because, as I mentioned before, the interviews did not ultimately lead to an immediate arrest. He was arrested in November 2001. So 3/4 of the way into the movie, spoiler alert, they kill Bundy. But do they show a dramatic scene of him being led to the electric chair and executed as justice for all of the lives that he took and subsequent ones ruined, left behind? No, it's the day before his execution. He's being passive-aggressive to someone interviewing him. I think it was... Did Dave Richards go back, or was it fucking Sideburns McGillicuddy? But yeah, he's all passive-aggressive with him, and then it just cuts to a black screen, and you hear a reporter saying, like, Ted Bundy died today. And then It just cuts to 10 years later, like immediately. Like the music doesn't even finish fading out. And it's just like...
Ted Bundy, the notorious serial killer, died today in the electric chair after a night of weeping and praying.
It's fucking hysterical. It's just like, okay, get that out of the way.
Yeah. There was a time where I paused this to like make some dinner, and I paused and I looked at the timestamp and I was like, this movie's been on for 57 minutes and it has gone nowhere.
Yeah.
I was thinking that and I was like, how much more time do I have on this thing? Fuck. They have a lot to get through. And they did.
And then, the last half hour of the movie, like, a ton of shit happens, and I remember none of it.
Yeah, technology saves the day.
Yeah, it's like they put a little baby powder in their hair depending on the scene.
Yeah.
like to show the time has passed.
Age out.
And like in some scene, like the outdoor scenes, you can see that they've put the baby powder in their hair to make them look gray. The indoor scenes, no, it looks like either the lighting is too dark or it was like, oh yeah, oops, we forgot to make them look old today.
Yeah, makeup. But yeah, this movie was all the best parts of Mindhunter, Zodiac, and Lambs with the fucking world's laziest execution. Ugh.
Yeah, no, this movie was bad. Y'all shouldn't see it. Go out and watch The Riverman instead, starring Bruce Greenwood and Carrie Elways. Bundy versus the Green River Killer. It's not the most painful watch, but if like I said, if you're into Mystery Science Theater 3000, and yeah, this movie, you know, it's less than $5. You might have some fun with it. But if you're a true crime fan looking for an engrossing psychological
if you just
thriller,
need that fix.
Yeah. No,
if you just
fuck
need
it.
that fix.
Don't see this. Go watch The Riverman. Throw on Silence of the Lambs. Even the Ted Bundy tapes on Netflix is better than this. Extremely wicked, fucking vile and shit. Marginally better. But skip that one too.
I don't know. I like that.
How about just fuck Ted Bundy?
No, there are good Ted Bundy movies out there, man. Another good one that was coincidentally made for TV, The Stranger Beside Me. I forget what network did it, but television adapted Anne Rule's Ted Bundy memoir in the early 2000s, and it was fucking excellent. And by coincidence, it was fucking Carrie Elways' co-star from Bram Stoker's Dracula, William Campbell, fucking played Bundy in it, and he was really good. Fucking Barbara Hershey was Anne Rule. It was a good story, and I know they did a good job adapting Anne's work, because I've chatted a couple times with friend and fellow author Leslie Rule, Anne's daughter, and she told me that they, for the most part, got it right. She actually said the only thing they got wrong is, she goes, at one point they show my mom baking me cookies when I'm like 16. She goes, I made my own cookies then. So... Go watch The Stranger Beside Me if you want a good Bundy movie, or an even deeper dive. Fucking Mark Harmon played him in the 80s in The Deliberate Stranger. That shit used to play on Lifetime all the time when I was a kid.
One thing I did notice in this movie, when there was a picture of a newspaper that had Bundy's mugshot, it was very clearly dude's headshot. Like
Yeah.
the actor's headshot. Did that reporter that was hassling him, like, just go to every single press conference for 20 years asking, why haven't you found this guy yet?
Why won't you leave me alone?
Security, eject that man.
Security! Yeah, no, this movie's fucking bad. It's not quite so bad it's good, but it's not so bad it's gonna hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, it was watchable.
Yeah.
Like, as far as bad movies go, dude, I love a good B movie every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, I'll take a C movie.
Mhm.
But, like, you have to really want to spend an hour and a half of your life, or an hour.
Yeah.
How long is this movie? An hour and 40-something minutes?
Is it even that long?
Total runtime was 1 hour, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
God, it felt like longer.
Yeah, like it took... Not a single one of us watched this movie in one sitting. Not that we didn't have the time, it's just...
Couldn't
after
do it.
like the 50-minute point, it's a slog.
Yeah, guys, you want to know what I watched before I watched this? All 3 episodes of the Shining miniseries.
An even worse movie. The kid that plays Danny in that is so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Dude, you just really wanted to torture yourself.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I gotta psych myself up. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I could see why people like it, but yeah, obviously Kubrick is the better for me at least, but
it's the better one.
It's like the movie was just the talking pop-up book version. Like that was the book, which like good for it. It worked.
Yeah, but it's from that weird period in the 90s where ABC TV movies were like the Cast of Wings retirement home. Like everything was starring either Tim Daly or Steven fucking Weber, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think Steven Weber, has done like 4 Stephen King TV movies
Really?
at this point. Yeah, hold on, because he was also in I believe it was Nightmares and Dreamscapes. Let me check here. Steven Weber. Oh, that's sad. It's like actor, The Shining, 1997. And I'm like, dude, fucking no one knows him from that. Wings didn't rank fucking higher than that. All right, let's see here. Yeah, he was also in Dracula Dead and Loving It. Yeah, The Shining, Wing.
He's in Kojak.
He's that old? He was old enough to be on Kojak?
Kojak Fatal Flaw TV movie. Came out in 89.
He was in All Dogs Go to Heaven, the TV series.
He plays Kennedy. He played Kennedy once.
Wait, what? In what?
The Kennedys of Massachusetts, 1990s miniseries.
He looks fucking nothing like JFK. He doesn't even look like JFK Jr.
Does he look like JFK after he got shot?
What the
Could he have played the corpse?
Hold on, I need to go over to Kennedy of Massachusetts and see what other what they have, like fucking Cuba Gooding Jr. play Bobby. Casey Affleck was young Robert Kennedy in that movie. That's awesome. Another shithead from Massachusetts. This cast list is huge, and I can't find anyone that's all like side people. Okay, someone named Randall Mell plays Robert Kennedy. Let's see, what the fuck has Randall Mell been in? Not a lot. He was in The Postman with, and Wyatt Earp. He was in The Postman and Wyatt Earp with someone who made a better JFK movie. Actually made 2 better JFK movies. Like, Kevin Costner rules. He last worked in 2007. Damn. Hate to kick a man when he's down. Who played Teddy? Oh my god, this is hysterical. William Peterson from fucking Manhunter, the first cinematic adaptation of Red Dragon, which we mentioned before, plays Joseph P. Kennedy in this, Kennedy's dad. And then he later played JFK in The Rat Pack for HBO, starring Ray Liotta. We needed those magic bullets, Karen! They were for the guy on the knoll! Oh my god, this is awful. Steven Weber is JFK. Is Ted even in this? You know what? The less it's said about Ted, the better. The oldest Ted Kennedy is in this movie is 12 years old. Like, fuck this kid. We ain't showing him past his first pube.